For being here this evening, and I apologize for us being a few minutes late. We had a hour-long work session prior to this, and it took us a little longer than I anticipated. But thank you for being here. Go ahead and call this meeting to order for the City Council meeting and public hearing of May 20th, 2024. Note for the record that all members of council are present and accounted for. And as always, we begin our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you're willing and able, please stand and join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we have a few presentations and proclamations to begin the meeting. And before I forget, we have one item that we're going to remove from the agenda this evening. Let's see if I can find where that one is. This item is about the Wacky World restroom, I believe that is. I can't find it on my agenda right offhand.
It's new business B, Mayor.
B, thank you. Okay. Yes. So we had some questions about item B, invitation to bid 24-012 Wills Park Wacky World area improvements. So to give our staff time to research and answer the questions that have arisen over the past few hours, we'll wait until probably a June meeting, I think will be the next meeting to take that item up. So if you're here for that, you can save yourself some time. So we'll go ahead and begin with the Wacky World Playground donor recognition. Director Rogers and Mr. Scott, if you'll meet me down front, please.
Are we on? All right, thank you. If I could have the Malin-Conoco family, would you mind coming forward for us? I've been here a few times for this, and I hope you all see me over and over and over again as we continue to honor and recognize folks that are generously donating and contributing to this project. All right, we got the family here. So we want to thank y'all so much for y'all's contribution to the Wacky World project. Can you hear me? As everyone knows, hopefully everyone knows, we're undertaking a pretty aggressive project to redo our Wacky World playground at Wills Park and prepare it for the next 30 years of usage by the families of North Fulton. Also, this time making sure it's fully inclusive for children of all needs to be able to enjoy the playground. And it's through generous contributions of families like this who are continuing to make this project possible. Businesses, civic organizations, everyone's starting to get on the train to get the project moving forward. So we want to take this opportunity to thank you so much. And it's my understanding that some of y'all are contributing weekly allowance money as part of this donation. Is that accurate? Nice. Okay, way to go. Feel free to spread that to some of your friends at school. Get them on board with that strategy as well. So, Mr. Mayor, if you wouldn't mind maybe presenting the certificate.
There you go. Thank you.
And just so everyone knows, our Sign Up Genius is live, and we are taking volunteers for this community build that's going to be happening in October. So feel free to navigate to www.wackyworld.org and go ahead and get your volunteer spot before they all go. Get there fast.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And then we have a proclamation up next.
And next up on our agenda is a proclamation by the mayor and the city council of the city of Alpharetta, Georgia for Public Works Week, May 19th through 25th, 2024. Director Sasevich, I'm one of the few people who can actually pronounce his name. Please, sir, if you'll say a few words about you and your team.
Will do. Well, I'm glad I have part of my teams over here right now. Chris McDowell, Dennis Rowan, Will Eberly. Thank you for attending. These are the guys behind the scenes that get everything taken care of. I get to go up here and speak at council and go to reports and meet with HOAs, but behind the scenes, their team gets everything done, ranging from dealing with early openings of closing of roads for the Taste of Alpharetta, to reopening the roads at the wee hours of the morning, to dealing with the infrastructure projects, milling, resurfacing, stormwater, picking up dead animals. It's a nasty job, but somebody's got to do it, and we take care of it. The landscaping, so it's a great team.
Thank you, Pete. So I'll go ahead and read this for Public Works Week, May 19th through 25th, 2024. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities, and also to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the city of Alpharetta. And whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, and responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, our water supply, water treatment, solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities that are essential for citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for our residents, business professionals, and visitors of the city of Alpharetta, Georgia to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas this year's Public Works Week and the theme, Advancing Quality of Life for All, marks the 64th Annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now, therefore, we, the mayor, and the city council of the city of Alpharetta, Georgia, do hereby proclaim May 19th through May 19th through the 25th of 2024 as Public Works Week in the city of Alpharetta, and urge all citizens to join the representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contribution they made to protect our health, safety, and quality of life. So proclaim this 20th day of May 2024 by the mayor and city council of the city of Alpharetta, Georgia. Would y'all like to come up for a picture? Come on. I figured you'd probably hate it if I called you out, so I wanted to do that. Thank you. Y'all make this city tick, and we're very grateful for it.
You can take this back to the office. You can take it. You have another one? You're done.
Thanks, sir.
Gotcha.
So next up is some board and commissions appointments. The first will be the Natural Resources Commission appointment by Mayor Pro Tem Dan Merkel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight I'd like to appoint Vijay Desai to replace a vacant seat that's currently sitting on the Natural Resources Commission.
All right, sir. It is official, and we'll be swearing in just a few minutes. I'm going to go through these appointments, and then we'll do the swearing in. So next item would be the Recreation Commission appointment by Mayor Gilvin, recommendation of Councilmember Will.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recommend Jit Saha for the Recreation Commission and would ask you to appoint him.
Thank you, sir. And I wholeheartedly support the retention of Jit on our Recreation Commission, so thank you for your service. The Development Authority, now this is an appointment that will need to be voted on by council, and I am making a motion to vote on the appointment or reappointment of David Chatham to our Development Authority.
And I'll second that.
You'll second that. So we have a motion by the mayor, a second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion? Do I need to go to the public on this item?
Sorry, I got inside my head on which button to hit. Your operating rules say that you should offer public comment on every item on the agenda, so yes.
And this is an item on the agenda. So, Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on the appointment of David Chatham?
We do not,
Reappointment.
Mr. Mayor.
If there's anyone that would like to come forward, now's your opportunity. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the appointment or reappointment of David Chatham to the Development Authority, please vote yes. And it does pass unanimously. We appreciate. Don't see Mr. Oh, there you are. I didn't see you hiding over there in the corner. Thank you for your service, sir. Next item up will be also another item that has to be voted on by council. And I am making a motion for the Code Enforcement Board appointment of Leander Murphy. Once again, it's a reappointment to the Code Enforcement Board.
Second.
We have a motion by the mayor, a second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion?
And we have no public comment cards, Mr. Mayor.
However, if anyone would like to come forward and speak on the appointment of Mr. Murphy, now's your chance. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. All those in favor of the motion to reappoint Leander Murphy to the Code Enforcement Board, please vote yes. And it does pass unanimously. So that is all of the appointments that need to be made. So now I guess I need to come swear some folks in. So if you'll come down here, meet me at the podium, I'd appreciate it.
There's your mic. It is live. And there's your script.
They have scripts. So Mr. Murphy is not here. We'll swear all of you in. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve our community. We're grateful for your service. So I'm going to read these. You've got a copy. So I'll just say the first part, and you read that same part, insert your name, insert your board or commission, okay? This is the oath of office for the city of Alpharetta, Georgia. I state your name.
I, BJ Desai,
Hereby accept the honor of serving as a member of the State Your Board or Commission
hereby accept the just Natural Resources Commission, Recreation Commission,
for the city of Alpharetta, Georgia. Y'all got to repeat this.
for the city of Alpharetta, Georgia.
Thank you. I do solemnly swear or affirm that
I do solemnly swear or affirm that
I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due to this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof.
I'm not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due to this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof.
I am qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and laws of Georgia,
I'm qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution and laws of Georgia.
and I shall support the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia and the Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
And I shall support the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia and the Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
Further, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I shall
Further, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I shall
faithfully perform the duties of a State Your Board or Commission member,
faithfully perform the duties of a Natural Resources Commission member,
regularly attend meetings,
regularly attend meetings,
uphold the ideals of community and service,
uphold the ideals of the community and service,
act and conduct business in accordance with the city's Code of Ethics and Conduct,
act and conduct business in accordance with city's Code of Ethics and Conduct,
and support the charter and laws of the city of Alpharetta, Georgia.
and support the charter and laws of the city of Alpharetta.
So sworn this 20th day of May 2024.
So sworn this 20th day of May 2024.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Quite welcome. Now, it's not official until y'all sign and I sign.
Thank you very much.
So the next item up on our agenda this evening is the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the city council meeting minutes for the meeting of April 29th, 2024, alcoholic beverage license application, PH-24-AB-06, Beto's Tacos Gourmet Food, PH-24-AB-07, Legacy Management and Investment Group, DBA Rays at Killer Creek, PH-24-AB-08, Bougie Butcher, Inc., DBA Southern Steer Butcher. It also includes the financial management report for the month ending March 31st, 2024, and the conflict waiver for Gerard and Davis, representation of City of Alpharetta and Development Authority of Alpharetta. Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
However, if anyone would like to come forward and speak on this item of the consent agenda, now is your chance. Seeing no one come forward, I'll call for a motion from council.
Motion to approve consent agenda. Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Mitchell, a second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote accordingly. And it does pass unanimously. So next item will be move on to our public hearing portion of tonight's meeting. And the first item is V-24-12, 115 Lambden Lane Stream Buffer Variance. Mr. Woodman, I believe you have the floor on this item.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The first item before you this evening is a request for a variance to allow a stream buffer encroachment in order to stabilize a stream bank on a residential lot. The variance would allow a gabion basket wall to encroach into the 25-foot stream buffer on a tributary of Long Indian Creek. And I have the location map on the overhead. The property is located at 115 Lambden Lane. This is in the Tuxford subdivision. Just a little over a quarter of an acre property, zoned R12. It has a platted 25-foot stream buffer along this tributary. This plat was approved in Fulton County, and then the property, the subdivision, was later annexed into the city. So when it was approved in Fulton County, it did not have the city's expanded perennial stream buffers, which would have required 150-foot buffers along the stream. And as part of this process, we did involve the city stormwater engineer, who has reviewed and worked with the applicant to get a proposal that she could support. And she is supportive of the request. And this is the applicant's site plan. So this is the residential lot here. There is a stream that is piped underneath the road, this road here, and the pipe, the water comes out of the pipe about at this location here. This darker area represents the stream bank and the gabion basket wall. It would be for about half the rear property along the stream. The gabion basket wall is about 3 foot tall, and it would be placed at the edge of the stream bank and aligned with that drainage pipe outlet structure right here. The western half of the property will remain as it is in its current state, except for some minor grading, some live staking, and some revegetation. In the revegetation, they do have a planting plan. This represents the planting plan. Again, the gabion basket wall is this dark area here, and then they have a planting plan and staking plan in this area. Of course, looking at the review criteria for a variance, we believe that the applicant's request is related to mitigating the existing stream bank erosion problem. So there is significant erosion along the stream bank, and it is eroding the applicant's property. Of course, we do believe this is probably likely to be caused by the fact that this was platted in Fulton County that didn't have the expanded stream buffer requirements. As I mentioned, the city's stormwater engineer has worked with the applicant's engineer to find a viable solution that would not just push the problem downstream on downstream neighbors. The applicant did provide a citizen participation plan. The report says that they received no public comments. They did personal meetings with the adjacent properties on either side of them at 125 and 135 Landman Lane and had no objections. This item was also shown to the public at the April 10th Community Zoning Information Meeting, and there are no public comments at that meeting. Staff is recommending approval of the applicant's request subject to the 2 conditions in the staff report in your packets. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Woodman? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Would the applicant like to come forward at this time? If you will, sir, please state your name and address for the public record.
Mayor, Council, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Brian Kimsey with Carter Engineering. I'm representing Mr. Samir and Divya Agrawal, the current owners of the property. We are the firm that designed the fix for the stream bank stabilization project. Just in general, it was, Michael did a great job explaining it. They've lost approximately 15 feet of their yard due to this erosion of the stream bank. Most of it's caused by the way the pipe outfalls from underneath the drive or the road. The velocities during heavy storms hit the bank, and it just causes erosion. There's no stabilization there. All the trees have gone. They've fallen over. They've washed downstream. There's no vegetation there holding anything in place. And so currently, the bank has washed away. It's sloped back towards the yard. There's some sinkholes in their yard now due to some of the same issue. It will continue to encroach on their near their house. It's currently about 20 feet from the supports of the deck on the back of the house. So they really need this stabilized really quickly. A couple big storms that could continue to erode. So our fix for a stream bank stabilization project is not necessarily unique. We have to have something that's strong enough to sustain the velocities coming out of the pipe, but at the same time is not too vast that it takes up their entire yard, so to leave them a little bit of yard. So gabion baskets are a method. They're more vertical. They can be natural. We've got planned for live staking within the gabion baskets. So over a course of a couple of years, you won't even see the gabion baskets themselves, the rock in the baskets. If you're not familiar with gabion baskets, they're large baskets filled with rock that are pulled tight together. They act as one solid wall. They'll be staggered. There'll be 2 rows. The lower row will be entrenched about 1.5 feet into the bottom of the bank to allow that stabilization and hold in place. And then the other basket will be sitting on top of the lower basket. The remaining part of the slope above the baskets will be stabilized with live stakes. And live stakes meaning typically it's a willow or some type of water-loving type of plant. It can be alders, it can be dogwood. There can be some flowering live stakes as well. And so that just provides the upper portion of the bank. When the water level gets high enough, it goes over the top of the gaping baskets. It won't erode that soil on top of the gaping baskets. So we feel like this is a great fix. We did compromise some with the city engineer and did not run the gapings the entire property. We stopped it as a point of where it begins to meander back into a straight section, leaving the property. So we appreciate their opportunity to work with us on this fix for the owners, and I'll look forward to answering any questions you might have.
Thanks, sir. Do we have any questions for the applicant? Thank you very much. Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
However, if anyone's here and would like to speak on this item, now is your chance to do so. Seeing no one, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Tonight I'd offer a motion to approve V-24-12-115 Lambden Lane Stream Buffer variance as presented this evening. Second.
Have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel and a second by Councilman Dorito to approve item V-24-12 as outlined in the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please vote yes, otherwise vote accordingly. And it does pass unanimously. Congratulations. Next item up on our public hearing agenda is the MP-24-03, Costco Oxford Green Master Plan. Mr. Woodman, once again, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The next request is a request from Costco to master plan amendment to increase the maximum developable square footage in the Oxford Green Master Plan Tract A from 138,500 square feet to 152,000 square feet. The increase would accommodate an expansion of the sales area of the store and relocation of the loading dock. Have the location map on the overhead. The property is located at 2855 Jordan Court. The property is just under 19 acres. It's zoned O&I, office institution. This master plan has been amended a few times over the years, and specifically for the Costco development. Have the applicant's site plan here. So there is a small addition, about 1,500 square foot addition here near the liquor store. This is the main entrance to the Costco. And just to orient you, this is west side, Jordan Court, coming into the main entrance. And then this is all the parking in the gas area. So there's a 1,500 square foot addition near the liquor store. There's about a 5,500 square foot addition here near the existing loading dock. This would be for the meat and deli section of the store. The loading dock would be pushed forward to this area here. The total actual increase to the sales area of the store is just under 7,000 square feet. And it would result in a small reduction in the parking. There are 691 parking spaces on the property today. It would reduce to 673 with the configuration. There's a small little parking area here just to show you the existing condition for comparison. So there's a small little parking area here that would go away and be replaced with a island, and that is for the purpose of the loading dock being repositioned. So even with the small reduction to 673 parking spaces, the Unified Development Code requires 608 parking spaces, including the proposed expansion, so they do exceed the city's minimum parking requirements. The applicant did provide a citizen participation report indicating that they did receive public comment and support, and also request for additional information from the Windward Point HOA. That's the townhome development that is to the rear of the Costco. And that the HOA president had some concerns about traffic. This item was also shown to the public at the April 10th Community Zoning Information Meeting. There were no public comments provided on the comment sheet. And then this item was considered by Planning Commission at their May 2nd meeting. There was one public comment in support, but noting some concerns regarding traffic potentially blocking some ADA spaces. I can tell you the representative from Costco at that meeting indicated that those ADA spaces, that the person that made that comment had been moved from this location. So there were formerly some ADA spaces here, but they've been moved since. And after consideration, Planning Commission recommended unanimous approval of the applicant's request subject to staff conditions. With that, Planning Commission did recommend approval of the 8 conditions as shown in the staff report in your packets. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Woodman on this item? Councilman Brady.
Yeah, I think anybody who goes to this area, this Costco, knows how much traffic goes in and out. I went this weekend and experienced the same thing. So just, I guess my question is, did any of the discussions come up of the traffic flow through that parking lot? Any improvements as we're reviewing this request?
So we did look at the traffic out at this site. Of course, it does have multiple points of access. I think the traffic issues that they experience at this site are because most people use the primary entrance. And of course, they're looking for the parking spaces near the main entrance to the facility, which Costco, we know, has one entrance. So what we did see is we were considering, I don't know that there's really anything that can be done about the traffic and dispersing the traffic, even though there are multiple points of access in, but we were concerned or wanted to look at the parking and just make sure that there was sufficient parking out at the site. We did look at archived aerial images, and what we found is when the Costco was initially developed, so you see down here in the 2013 aerial imagery, the parking lot was probably close to about 50% full. Now that was at a time before this area here was expanded for an additional parking field. If you see the imagery just above in 2018, that's right after this parking lot was expanded here. In every image after that, we saw that the parking lot, based on the time that the aerial imagery was taken, was about 40% full. But we did not believe that the additional 7,000 square feet would have significant impacts on traffic.
So I'm not sure when those aerial pictures were taken, but I can tell you on a Saturday or a Sunday,
sure,
it's a lot different of a picture. I think what happens is the front entrance right there, the cars come in through the parking lot and they just go dead stop because so many people are coming in and out of the store, and that kind of creates congestion all the way back to Windward Parkway. And what I'm kind of saying is just going there, anybody can see that. Is any deviation around that front door stops all that traffic back in Windward. And if you're on Windward going to Home Depot or anybody else up in that corridor, you're dead stop because everyone's coming into Costco. And it's the weekends is really where it is. So yeah, just want to address that just with you, and that's it, but I appreciate it.
No, and great comments. They came up during Planning Commission as well. And as you mentioned this, These 90-degree parking spaces right here at the kind of just down from the main entrance to the store, where there were some planning commissioners that had concerned about these and asked the Costco representative if there was anything that they could do with these parking spaces, because they seem to be what holds up most of the traffic.
Any other questions for Mr. Woodman? Thank you, sir. Would the applicant like to come forward? If you don't mind, please state your name and address for the public record.
All right, good evening. My name is Julie Miller with AEC. My address is 50 Warm Spring Circle, Roswell, Georgia. I'm the civil engineer for Costco, and I believe Mr. Woodman did a great job presenting our case for us just now. We did have some good feedback at our Planning Commission meeting, and we believe that we can improve upon the access closest to the loading dock when it gets realigned. Some stop bars, stop sign conditions to help with that traffic flow. We are considering phasing this project, so the liquor expansion, assuming everything goes well tonight, I'm prepared to start permitting tomorrow. And then the loading dock revision would come at a later date. And I'm happy to answer any other questions you have. And there is a Costco representative here today as well.
Well, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add, sir? Okay. Do we have any questions for the applicant? Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
However, if you're here and you want to speak about the Costco expansion, now's your chance. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, and I offer a motion this evening to approve item MP-24-03, Costco Oxford Green Master Plan as presented this evening.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I think it was Councilman Mitchell that was fast on the draw that time. So we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel and a second by Councilman Mitchell. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion as outlined by Mayor Pro Tem, please vote yes. And it does pass unanimously. Congratulations. So next item up on our agenda is PH-24-11 Unified Development Code, UDC text amendments, exceptions. This is the first reading, so Ms. Eswine, if you could please read the ordinance as Director Cook approaches the dais.
An ordinance by the Mayor and Council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, to amend Article 4 of the Unified Development Code of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, to amend regulations pertaining to exceptions, to repeal conflicting ordinances, and for other purposes.
Thank you, ma'am. Director Cook, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. This next item is consideration of text amendments to the Unified Development Code, Article 4, to amend regulations pertaining to exceptions. There are really two changes that we're requesting your review and approval of tonight. One of them is to amend UDC subsection 4.5.5 exceptions to clarify that exceptions that are over 50% have to be heard by City Council and require City Council approval. And then this second item, if you look at I here, is regulations pertaining to uses that are customarily accessory to dwellings located in residential zoning districts. So we're just trying to list what items could you come forward with and request an exception. This item went to the May 2nd Planning Commission meeting. There was one public comment at the meeting, but it wasn't a comment on the actual change to the exceptions. It was regarding backyard chickens. But the Planning Commission, after listening to the recommendation from staff, did recommend approval to the City Council. And I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Councilman Hipes.
Will minimum street frontage cease to be an exception?
No, it was in there twice. It's actually at E also.
Oh, I had my eyes drawn only to
Yeah,
the,
yeah, so it's actually in there also, and in the
Okay.
supplemental regulations, we didn't change those, we just clarified the section 2.3.3. So that section includes, playground equipment, sheds, pool houses, as well as backyard chickens. So those are things that don't require a hardship to be heard, so those are why we put those as exceptions versus hardship variances.
Thank you. Any other questions for Director Cook? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
However, if anyone would like to come forward and speak on this item, now is your chance. Seeing no one, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I'd approve the first reading of PH-24-11, the Unified Development Code Text Amendment Exceptions as presented by Ms. Cook.
We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Brady. And that was to approve PH-24-11 as outlined by the motion. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve, please vote yes. And it does pass unanimously. So the next item up will be the fiscal year 2024 budget amendment ordinance. This is the first reading, and once again, Ms. Eswine, if you don't mind reading the ordinance while Director Harris approaches.
An ordinance by the Mayor and Council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, to adopt a fiscal 2024 budget amendment for certain funds of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, appropriating the amounts shown in each budget as expenditures, adopting the item of revenue anticipation, prohibiting expenditures to exceed appropriations, and prohibiting expenditures to exceed actual funding available.
Thank you very much. Director Harris, once again, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Every once in a while, we have to clean up our budgets in our departments for administrative matters or something that you've already approved during a year, some action that you took during a year that may have been subsequent to our mid-year budget amendments, 2 readings and ordinance. So these are primarily just cleanup items. One dealing with when we made changes to our post-retirement plan. Those final dollars were not figured out how to carry that out, and this is amending that. And then as well as the American Rescue Funds, we got a few years back, $6 million we appropriated, and we didn't see the fine print. It's all the stuff was coming on real fast when we were getting the money, how we appropriated, made no mistake there. But we put it into a capital project fund within the state of Georgia. Wants it under their charter of accounts, it's supposed to go into a special revenue fund. I know that's riveting to you all, but that's what we have to do. So we have to do it this year, so we don't get a finding at the end of this year. So we're just moving those funds from one fund to another. We are recognizing what came about recently. I think the mayor, you know this, on the opioid settlement. The state of Georgia reached a $600-something million opioid settlement. We know very little at this point, but we're getting $50,000, $52,000. It looks like it's going to be paid over maybe 18 years, or some of it's paid over 9 or 10 years, and then the other piece is remaining for 18. And there's a use of the funds. We'll just have to get with our team as we get this number this year and next year to $50 million and come up with how we're going to spend it and what we're going to spend it on. But there's requirements for spending it. So we just needed to recognize it in that budget this year and put it in unallocated in an opioid account. And then lastly, we're just amending the DEA fund.
Thanks, sir. Do we have any other questions for Councilman Will?
Did I miss this? That the OPEB Health Benefit Fund, we budgeted $300, and we're making a $1.1 million budget increase on one, and then the legal level, another $1.4 million budget increase? We're moving, when we made that adjustment to fund in the budget an additional 0.5%, and that was budgeted properly. We also were making decision to close down the retiree plan that you could pay for 100% of your health insurance.
So is it an internal transfer?
So it's an internal transfer.
That's what I needed. Thank you.
That's it. Correct.
Any other questions? Councilman Dorito.
Thank you, Mayor. Quick question on the opioid revenue fund. You said 10 or 18 years to pay on this. Is that amount we're going to be
That's what we think, although one of the settlements is over 9 years and another settlement's over 18, so I would think that number could drop. So, but I don't know how they're compiling the money and allocating it, and finding that out is a little difficult, so.
Any other questions for Director Harris? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Shapiro,
We have no public comment cards, sir.
however, if you want to come forward and speak on this item, now's your chance. Seeing no one come forward, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the ordinance read by the city attorney amending the fiscal year 2024 budget.
Second. Have a motion by Councilman Brady, a second by Councilman Will. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the fiscal year 2024 budget amendment ordinance as read by City Attorney Ms. Eswine, please vote yes. And it does pass unanimously as well. So we'll move on to the next item, which is PH-24-14, City of Alpharetta Capital Improvement Element. Ms. Eswine, if you'll read the resolution, Mr. Woodman, you have this item.
A resolution by the Mayor and Council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia for transmittal of the fiscal year 2023 capital improvement element of the comprehensive plan.
Thank you very much. Mr. Woodman, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We are seeking your authorization to transmit the fiscal 2023 capital improvement element and annual report to the Atlanta Regional Commission and Georgia Department of Community Affairs. Of course, we do this because the Georgia Planning Act requires that local governments utilizing an impact fee system provide annual updates to their capital improvement element in accordance with the state's minimum planning standards and procedures and the development impact fee compliance requirements. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Woodman on this item? Thanks, sir. Ms. Shapiro.
We have no public comment cards, sir.
However, if you'd like to come forward and speak on this item, now is your chance. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council? Anyone?
Mayor, I move to approve a resolution authorizing the transmittal of the fiscal year 2023 capital improvement element and annual report to the Atlanta Regional Commission and the Georgia Department of Community Affairs.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion by Councilman Dorito, a second by Councilman Brady, and that was to approve PH-24-14, the City of Alpharetta capital improvement element. Any discussion? All those in favor, please vote yes. And it does pass unanimously. So that'll wrap up old business, or the public hearing item, I should say. Move on to new business. First item under new business this evening is the resolution for GDOT Local Road Assistance, LRA Administration Grant Application. Ms. Eswine, I believe we have another resolution.
A resolution by the Mayor and Council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia to submit a fiscal year 2024 local road assistance grant application to the Georgia Department of Transportation.
Thank you very much. Director Sisevich, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is budget surplus from the state, and they've allocated local road assistance money to the tune of over $830,000 to the city, and passing that will then apply for our milling resurfacing operations.
Any questions for Director Sisevich? Councilman Will.
Did we just learn about this? Is this new?
It's in the last couple of months. So.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions for Director Sisevich? Thank you, sir. Ms. Shapiro?
We have no public comment cards, sir.
However, anyone wants to come forward and speak on this item, now's your chance. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, Mayor. Move to adopt a resolution to authorize submission of the fiscal year 2024 local road assistance grant application to the Georgia Department of Transportation with authorization of the mayor to execute the submittal cover letter and all necessary documents.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Did somebody say? Councilman Brady. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Did we have public comment on this? Okay, just making
We
sure.
do not.
Pardon? We do not. Okay. All those in favor of the motion to approve the resolution for the GDOT local road assistance, please vote yes, otherwise vote accordingly. And it does pass unanimously.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Pete. And as I mentioned earlier, the next item that may be on your printed agenda is not one we'll be taking up this evening. We'll take that up in a June meeting. So we'll move on to the contract approval for body-worn and in-car dash cameras. Director Robinson, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're asking for approval to a 3-year contract extension from Utility Associates, who currently handles our body and in-car cameras. Total annual cost is $379,044. Just a couple bits of information. This contract extension shows a slight increase, about $639 per unit. We are adding 30 new body cameras. When we originally started the body camera program, we did that just for patrol and traffic, and we believe strongly that everybody, detectives and everybody, needs to have a camera in this day and age, and so we are now able to do that, so that's why we're adding 30. Also, the contract will not have any annual increase. It'll stay at that $379,044 for each of the next 3 years.
Do we have any questions for Director? Councilman Will?
Chief, I wanted to clarify something just for the record. These are cellular-enabled body cams?
Correct. The cameras actually look like they're like a cell phone. Yes.
So they are technically capable of connecting to our real-time information center? So
Absolutely, yes.
we can actually actively monitor if we need to?
Yes, we have that ability, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And just because we haven't taken this up in a while, am I correct in assuming that we are still doing this just as much to protect our officers as we do to protect the public?
100%. It's two birds with one stone, if you will, of being transparent, which we want to be and always do so with the public, but also for me, it's especially a priority to make sure that we are able to demonstrate when our officers are acting the way they should be acting. So, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Director Robinson? Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
However, if you'd like to come forward and speak on this item, seeing no one, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the 3-year contract extension for Utility Associates, Inc. for public safety body-worn and in-dash cameras and authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents.
Thanks, sir. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Councilman Dorito, the motion by Councilman Will. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve the contract for body-worn and in-dash car cameras, please vote yes, otherwise vote accordingly. And it does pass unanimously. So the next item will be PH-24-09, Dr. J.L. Morris House, 116 North Main Street, historic designation. This is the second reading. First reading was on April 29th. Ms. Aswine, do you mind reading that ordinance, please?
An ordinance by the Mayor and Council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, to amend Section 2.9 Historic Preservation Incentive Zoning of the Unified Development Code of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, to add 116 North Main Street, Dr. J.L. Morris House to Appendix B, Historic Resources Inventory Designated Historic Buildings, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Woodman, do you have anything to add?
There have been no changes since the first reading.
Thanks, sir. Any questions for Mr. Woodman? Councilman Mitchell.
Mr. Woodman, I meant to ask this during the initial, the first reading. The shingles that need to be replaced on that house, are they required to be replaced as a part of the restoration of the house? There's some that's on the sloping part of the roof that have not been, by the previous owner, not been replaced.
So as part of the next step, after they're designated, they'll go through the certificate of appropriateness, which will address any of the exterior changes. We'll certainly note that comment to the applicant as part of that process.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Woodman? Thank you, sir. Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
However, if there's anyone that would like to come forward and speak on this item, now's your chance. Seeing no one, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve PH 24-09, Dr. J.L. Morris House, 116 North Main Street, and add it to our historic designation.
We have a motion by Councilman Mitchell, second by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel. Any discussion, gentlemen? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve, please vote yes. And it does pass unanimously. So we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, which is PH-24-07, Unified Development Code Text Amendment for Hotels. This is also the second reading. Ms. Eswine, if you would, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance by the Mayor and Council of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, to amend Articles 1 and 2 of the Unified Development Code of the City of Alpharetta, Georgia, to add and amend definitions, use of land and structures, and miscellaneous regulations pertaining to extended stay hotels and hybrid hotels, to repeal conflicting ordinances, and for other purposes.
Thank you, ma'am. Director Cook.
Mayor and Council, there's been one change which was requested by Council at the first reading, and it's to number 4. We clarified what is required in order to be considered for conditional use, and specifically it states, building or development shall have a minimum 60,000 square foot conference room or minimum 60,000 square foot event space or minimum 60,000 square foot group meeting space with banquet facilities. And the council had asked for more clarification, so we clarified that sentence. If there's any questions, be glad to answer those.
Do we have any questions? Councilman Will.
Did I hear you say 60,000 square foot conference room?
Yes. So it's conference space. So it could be conference space, it could be a group meeting room, or it could be event space. But yes, that would be a pretty large
That's a big
conference room.
room.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions for Director Cook? Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Shapiro, any public comment cards?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
However, you have one more chance. Seeing no one, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion tonight to approve PH-24-07, the Unified Development Code Text Amendment, second reading as adjusted by Ms. Cook.
Have a motion. Do we have a second? Have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel, a second by Councilman Mitchell. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve PH-2407 as outlined, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote accordingly. And it does pass unanimously. So the next item up on our agenda is the North Point Development Framework Plan, RFP 24-111, contract award. Director Cook, you still have the floor.
Mayor and Council, this is consideration of awarding a contract to Star White House Landscape Architects and Planners for the North Point Development Framework Plan. And just a reminder, back in 2018, when we approved the North Point LCI, we did try to apply for a couple of different grants, which we were not selected for. This is something that was approved in the 2024 budget that we've just put out the RFPs. So we're excited to bring it forward to you for consideration. The purpose, of course, of the North Point Development Framework Plan is to build on the recommendations of that LCI from 2018, as well as the North Point Creative Placemaking Plan, by providing a framework of public streets, public space trails, and green infrastructure to guide high-value sustainable redevelopment. This gives the staff as well as council a map, a planning map, to make sure that as we have redevelopment come in throughout that 1,000 acres within the North Point area, that we make sure that we get it right with easements that may be needed for multi-use trails and connections, and make sure that we are really taking advantage of the multi-million-dollar investment with the greenway that we have, and that we get streets that are needed that will connect over to the greenway, as well as look at setting up blocks so that we can have a walkable community within the North Point district. We did have several people submit for proposals. It was issued January 18th. The proposal's due February 15th. We narrowed it down to 3, went through the interview process, and the recommendation before you tonight is to award the contract in the amount of $199,608 to Star White House Landscape Architects and Planners. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Do we have any questions? Councilman Will.
Ms. Cook, I assume this was one of those, is this government funded in any way besides, federal government funded in any way?
This is not.
So I see the point scale that we chose the vendor with, but not a bid level in here, or am I missing it? The bid, we got several bids, right?
We did, and we actually interviewed 3 different firms, which were Star White House, Kimley Horn, and MKSK.
Am I missing what the bid amounts were? I see the 199, but what were the other 2 bids?
No, but this was the lowest bidder. This company actually came in at $205,000, and after we negotiated with them, the final bid was $199,608, which was the lowest bid.
And what were the other 2? Do you remember?
One of them was around $205,000, and I don't know what the third one is. Michael may know what the third one.
I believe MKSK was about 250.
250, okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Councilman Brady.
I'm just curious, kind of looking at these, probably flanking off a little bit of the comments there. Some of these design services or plans have just, compared to the private sector, what government spends is starting to get crazy. And I look a little bit of a correlation back to exactly what is the scale and the scope of what you're looking for from an implementation versus like a percentage of what the design plan should be. And ultimately, what do you really want to, I know you outlined a little bit what you're getting for it.
Right.
It's just, we know the streets, we know the impacts, we know a little bit of that. Is it incorporated into the comprehensive plan? Is that really the granularity that you need for $200,000 to develop this plan?
It is, and the reason that this one is a little bit different than what we did for the downtown master plan, because there's so many different tributaries, of course, going into the Big Creek area, and with the Big Creek Greenway, there's a lot of potential to make sure that we get it right with the trail connections going over to the Big Creek Greenway. There's also an opportunity in some areas to daylight existing piped streams, which may be something that's beneficial if you are creating a trail that will be connected to the Big Creek Greenway. So it's pretty complex, because we also want to determine where are regional areas that can be more park-like for detention. If you think about the Stormwater Park, which is on Thompson Street, it's very popular. So creating something that is visible above ground and shared by multiple users versus underground and having more pavement. So there's a lot of complex issues that go into the North Point area that aren't as similar to downtown. But one thing that did happen within the downtown plan is we put together the future grid. You think about Kingery. We didn't have Kingery Lane at that time, so we just had the shortcut into the post office. So one of the things that was required when we adopted that plan is to bring Kingery all the way through, and that was done by private development when they came in with impact fee credits. So it's setting up the plan to make sure that it ties to what council and the public has put together within that vision for the North Point, the future of the North Point.
So just to add on that, so would you say there's, in this plan, incorporates maybe wetlands, civil engineering that ultimately will not be needed later on as part of this plan?
Well, it won't be because this is probably, most of it's going to be done by private development. So what we'll determine is that, there's an engineering component to this. There's also a transportation component to make sure that the blocks that are created with the smaller roads in the future actually are feasible. But what will happen is if you get a redevelopment project that comes in, and we've adopted a plan that says you have to create this shorter block and this trail to the Greenway, they will have to design it, and we will give impact fee credits for them to design and build it as part of their development.
Thank you.
It gives us the map.
Any other questions for Director Cook? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
However, if anyone would like to come forward and speak on this item, now is your last chance. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I offer a motion tonight to approve the North Point Development Framework Plan, RFP 24-111, contract award to Star White House Landscape Architects and Planners, LLC.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel and a second by Councilman Dorito, and that is to approve North Point Development Framework Plan, RFP 24-111, as outlined in the motion. Any discussion? All those in favor, please vote yes. And it does pass unanimously. So that'll wrap up the new business portion of tonight's meeting. There's one last chance for public comment. Do we have any public comment cards?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
However, now you have one last opportunity. Seeing no one, we'll close public comment. Any reports this evening? Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I just want to say that these last two pocket parks, Morgan, that we've done ribbon cuttings for in the last couple of weeks are just amazing. I mean, I know to have the vision is one thing, to do a groundbreaking was one thing, but to cut the ribbon and see the kids actually come out and demonstrate the use of the park, and then the one over up Kimball Bridge and Waters Road that obviously I drive by multiple times a day, there's people up there all the time. So I think the vision was there. The execution's been done, and I'm looking forward to doing more of these. So just congratulations, and let's keep that ribbon going.
Councilman Mitchell.
Just a shout out to the Art Center, and the plein air event this year was just fantastic. And if you get a chance, go by the Art Center and see some of the paintings that came out of that event. Some of those were quick draw paintings. Some of them were, just a 2-day event. And I couldn't help but think there are other developments within the city that could open up their facility and their acreage to the artists to paint. But it's just amazing what can happen in 2 days when art is released. So thank you to all the folks in our Parks and Recs and Cultural Affairs Department and Morgan and all of your team. It was just a fantastic event. So thank you.
Any other reports? So I do believe we need an executive session this evening.
That is correct, Mr. Mayor. Tonight's all litigation.
All right, so I'll call for a motion and vote to recess to executive session.
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Councilman Will. All those in favor of public comments? Are we? Okay. Public just left. So all those in favor of the motion to recess into executive session, please vote yes. And it does pass unanimously. We'll see you shortly. I saw it. Do we have a motion to reconvene?
Motion to reconvene.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Mitchell, a second by Councilman Will. All those in favor of reconvening, please vote yes. And it is unanimous. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem and Councilman Will with the second. All those in favor, please vote yes. And it's unanimous. We are adjourned.